and I can swear like a sailor, which is great because if ever I'm doing interviews, I have to put a note on the computer to say don't say fuck or something like that. I'm deadly. So,
right.
I don't have to censor myself, which is great.
You absolutely. You know what? I was going to intro the podcast, but I think that's a great starting point to the podcast, Emma Pyne. I don't have to censor myself, which is great.
And can I bash the Catholic Church as well? I'd like to do that too.
But whatever you have a go at, whatever you like. I won't listen. I had a flat earther on the other day giving out fucking yards about the world being round. So you know, whatever.
Oh, really?
Likes
Oh, I love it. That's brilliant. Somebody was giving out about the world being round. What, does he believe it's flat?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's an episode now. That's an episode that's good crack. Have a go at that one because he absolutely.
I have to listen to that. It's hilarious.
He reckoned there was a big wall of ice all the way around, and beyond that, then there was more planets to get. Listen to
hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? Wouldn't it be absolutely gas if one day they found that out? It'd be hilarious. That we were all wrong.
At this stage, you nearly give it a go.
We're living in a big pyramid. It's not.
You'd nearly give it a go at this. I'm waiting for the aliens anyway. That's what I'm all set for the aliens now.
Oh, I'd love it if that happened. It'd be great. Did you ever take ayahuasca?
No, I didn't. And I suppose it's not ayahuasca wouldn't be, I suppose it wouldn't be freely available very well in Ireland, I suppose, but shrooms would be on a regular basis, I suppose.
You could get anything, I'd say, in Ireland, especially in Clare. I'd say there's mad people there. But that's where all the mad people are anyway. But I did ayahuasca there about maybe a couple of years ago, actually, because I was trying to get, so I thought I'll do ayahuasca now and I'll see what's inside there that wants to get out.
Yeah.
And it was actually mental. I mean, they do it in ceremonies because they have to attach to some kind of a spiritualistic church, because that way they can give it a bit like communion, if you like, right?
Right, yeah,
They have to attach it. So they could be giving out ayahuasca in churches like in Ireland as part of communion if they wanted to. That would be allowed. It wouldn't be like considered a class A hallucinogenic. But so I did this ceremony in this house, lovely people, lovely gay couple, and there's about 8 of us lying down with mental. Now, I mean, they all think that, well, a lot of them say the common held belief about ayahuasca is that you're kind of going into a spirit world and you're inviting in, they call it grandmother ayahuasca or they call it mother. I think that's bullshit. I think it's just a very powerful hallucinogenic that does mad fucking shit to your brain.
Yeah, go on.
Like, so if you take like a big handful, and we'll get on to magic mushrooms now in a minute because I've got microdoses of it there. But with the ayahuasca, so the first night, they recommend you do 2 nights, and the first night was fucking amazing. Like, I found the meaning of life. Like, I went off on a big, world tour with myself.
What's the application? Is it tea or what is it, Emma?
Yeah, you take it in tea, and it tastes like, Jesus, what is it? It tastes like whiskey mixed with, dirt.
Like Bewley's tea bag, so.
Like a tea, like a real thick, strong tea, like, yeah, kind of. And then there's an aftertaste that kind of tastes like the ground. Yeah, it wouldn't be the tastiest thing, but you have to knock it down. And then you're wrecked for about 8 hours, and it gives you the worst guts. Like, you have to bring a change of pants because you're worried you might shit yourself. Like, that's the thing. Like, trying to go to the toilet, like, on ayahuasca, like, is a whole lot, but you're vomiting and that, and it's like, I don't know if you ever did ease back in the 90s, but once you vomit, you're like, oh great, you want to vomit because that'll bring you up. So you're trying to vomit. Anyway, I vomited a few times and then I was having a great time. But the mad thing is, this sounds completely ridiculous, but you can kind of time travel on it, right?
Go on.
I met all of my ancestors, like all the women, the lineage of, and I sound like I'm totally full of shit now, but I met all the women ancestors in my family that were telling me to do things like, and I literally went back in time, and all of my grandmother's great grandmothers, I just met them all, and I was able to go into my childhood as well. And you know the way you think people wronged you, when we all have these little traumas that we carry, your mother wrongs you, a teacher wrongs you, whatever, people that wronged you from your childhood. And I was able to go back and I visited these little scenes from my childhood, and I was able to drop into the mind or the perspective or the point of view of the other person, so that I didn't feel wronged, because now I could see it from their point of view as well. mind-blowing. Like I tell you, fucking mind-blowing. It cracked my brain wide open, and I thought, oh my God, I found the meaning of life. Like I totally have. And I was in a relationship, and I'm married now, but I called up my boyfriend at the time, and I'm like, oh my God, see where you're trying to get to with weed. He smokes weed, like weed is legal out here in California. And I said, you got to do this. Like, this is the answer to everything. Oh my God, it's the answer to everything. Now, they recommend you don't call anybody after the first day. But of course I did. I had to, because I was preaching now. I had found, like, oh my God, I found the holy grail, and everyone has to do this. Like, I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get people to do ayahuasca. That's my mission now. That's my purpose for the rest of my life. So that was the first day anyway. So then I was all set up to do the second night, and you do a little kind of, you set your intention, and I asked Grandmother Ayahuasca, come on, bring me further, let's go deeper, Grandmother Ayahuasca, and what have you got for me now tonight? And I was I was totally open to it. I was ready for it. Nothing could, anyway, so I take it, and I thought, like Billy Big Balls here, I thought I'll do another bit now, because I'm small little bit, and I'm tiny, like I'm about 8 stone on a good day. And but I'm this tiny, but the guy wanted more. So anyway, I did more. And then the thing is, the guy, like the shaman type person who gives it to you, also takes it. So your man is a bit high now, and he's given me the second round. So the second round, I took way too much, like a double shot of it. And it was awful, like talking about aliens, like, because I'm bringing it full round, back around to the ends. But I died, basically. I had a death experience, and I left my body, and I went into outer space, and I was molecules, and I could not get back into my body. And I spent about 7 hours, I kid you not, like floating around the outer space.
Like, gather yourself up.
Of the galaxy. In molecule form. I was just in molecule form, trying to get back into my body. And every so often I'd like find my body, and my body was like in the death throes, like I was totally dying, like I literally thought I was dying. And then I saw a vision of my own funeral, and there was my family there, and they were all mourning Emma. And I was going, I'm here. I'm trying to get to you. I'm here. And they couldn't, like and they couldn't see me. And it was, oh Jesus, it was the worst thing ever. It was the worst. And then it gets to, like, you take the ayahuasca about 7 o'clock in the evening. 2 o'clock in the morning, the ceremony is supposed to end, right? And they've been making a slow cook, like a pressure cooker of soup, like for the whole night, so that it's slow cooking. So you have this lovely vegetable soup at 2 o'clock in the morning, and because you haven't eaten since probably lunchtime.
Did they not hear Supermax?
And oh no, Jesus, we miss Supermax, the curry chips. And of course, at this stage now, I had not vomited, and I had not gone to the toilet, so I had this black ball of God knows what inside my stomach. It was literally like an alien trying to get out, and I was in bits, like I was in fucking bits. So I'm lying down in the sleeping bag. I couldn't get up. I couldn't even sit up. And so the shaman guy comes over, and he's rubbing my stomach, and he's singing to me, basically, you are a flower, you are a beautiful flower, you are a beautiful flower, and your energy is so beautiful. And I'm like fucking literally dying. So then I said, you have to make a decision now. You have to make a decision. You're going to have to come back to this world. Just sit the fuck up now and make a decision. So I sat up, and I was in bits, and like, it can trigger psychosis and stuff in people. I mean, you have to fill out all these forms, like, to say that you're not antidepressants and all this. And I'm like, I'm the one person, I'm going to be psychotic now for the rest of my life. I ruined my life. I should never have taken this ayahuasca. And I was in bits. I couldn't even stand up. So he was bringing me into the kitchen, and I sat down on the kitchen floor, and they're trying to give me soup. And bearing in mind now, this is like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've taken the ayahuasca at 7 o'clock the following evening. So they're like, you won't be able to vomit now. It's just going to have to go through your system, and you won't. It's all. And I was so fucking stupid. I was like an antichrist. So anyway, I take a little sip of the tea and a couple of the thing of the soup, and then I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm gonna puke. And like, there's buckets everywhere full of puke, by the way, because everyone's been puking all night. So I just grabbed a bucket of puke, and I puked into it, and like all of this, like everything, and it's all black. You're puking up black stuff now. I hope you're not having your dinner after this, Tom. But so all the black stuff came up, and then I was fine. Once I puked, I was fine. But I've not done ayahuasca since. And I came home with that story, and my boyfriend was like, oh, Jesus, like, I'm never taking ayahuasca. And any of my friends that I was, oh my God, like, because it's meant to be great for like people with addictions and depression and like all this post-traumatic stress disorder. So a friend of mine she's in AA, she was like, oh God, I can't wait to see what that's like. Maybe I'll try it. And then I was like, Jesus, don't anyone, like, I cannot endorse this. I cannot tell anyone to go and do it. But look, I might do it again now. I don't.
It's like a trip to Tip on a Monday morning.
It was awful, but look, I might go back.
Jesus, I mean, there was one good night out of the two, but anyway, holy shit.
But that was the thing. I was like, why the fuck didn't I stop? Why didn't I quit while I was ahead? But it's, one, I suppose, 50%, 1 out of 2 isn't bad. But then the other thing I was going to say, there's now going to be new laws. I got this, the psilocybin, which is the magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
You can get this now in capsule form. And there's a lot of people in Silicon Valley and in, like Tim Ferriss, I don't know if you know who he is. He's a big supporter of this whole movement of the microdosing. And apparently loads of people in Silicon Valley microdose every day or every week. So I thought, Jesus, I'm mad into, I'm interested. I'll tell you what got me into all this. I read a book called How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or read it. So I was at home in Ireland, would you believe? And my parents' Sunday papers, and then there was a review of this book, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy Michael Pollan was a journalist for the New York Times, and he wrote about diets and food and wellness and that kind of thing. And then at the age of 60, he became interested in hallucinogenics, and he started going off on this big journey to taking ayahuasca and psilocybin and everything that he'd never tried before in his life. And then he ended up writing a huge book called How to Change Your Mind. So anyway, I read the book, and then I thought, I'm going to have to do ayahuasca, and then I'm like, I'm going to have to try psilocybin. So I managed to procure myself a little baggie of
have you got it there?
Capsules. I have it. Hold on. Where did I put? I think I hid it now. Just hold on. Wait till you see. Where is it?
I hope you can see. Well, it is no surprise in it, because they're nothing but mad bastards that I ever met came out of Clare anyway. So, I mean.
I have, yeah.
Because you were all mad bastards out in Clare anyway. Any fella I ever met out in Clare.
They are.
Stone cracked.
Mental. Oh, they're mental in Clare. Like, that's really, I think, where the fairies and the crazy. I mean, the fairies, as in like the original, the Fae people.
I was just going to say the Fae people,
The Fae people are from Clare. So there's the. So anyway, I decided I'd take one the other day on Saturday there to see what it was like. Now I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel much, and I'm like, oh, what I was thinking was it was going to make me feel amazing and just feel happy and better about life.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was expecting. But I don't know if you've ever done edibles, like hash weed edibles. If you've ever been to Amsterdam,
I did it, but it's a long time ago. Yeah,
I would liken it to a very, very, very small dose of that, and it took about 4 hours to kick in, and then I was just reading my book, and then suddenly I couldn't read, like all the words would be coming out, and they were all going purple, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. And then I looked at this cushion. Look at this.
I love that getting thick 4 hours.
Yeah, I was totally getting thick.
I wanted G-half a fucking 3 hours ago, lads.
Yeah. And then I looked at this cushion. Imagine looking at this cushion. Like,
jeez, it's all knots and everything.
Yeah. So I started looking at this cushion, and I'm like, okay, I'm a small bit high now. Fuck it anyway. And then I got a bit annoyed because I was like, I can't fucking do anything now with my day because I'm just high. I'm just a bit high. And then I went out for a walk on the beach, and it was lovely. But the thing is, if you've plans or if you've anything to do, you can't do it. I mean, it's only good if you're interested in lying down on the beach or lying down in the grass and just talking shit to yourself for the day, which, might be helpful to some people, but I don't know if I'd recommend it. But I obviously, as you can see, I'm kind of curious about that sort of stuff.
But there's no harm. I mean, well, look, if you're going to fucking expand, and with the way the world has gone so weird in the minute, you may as well fucking.
Oh, Jesus, I know. There's no better time to experiment with hallucinogenics.
Listen, they've been making fucking nettle soup around here for years, so I don't know. I mean,
it's true, actually. Yeah. That's lovely. And nettle tea. So where are you now? Tell me.
I'm after moving. I was in Dublin years, and literally in the last 5 weeks, we've moved back to Tipperary. We've moved.
Great.
Yeah. It was just, we made a decision last summer actually, and went, what the fuck are we doing here? Paying extortionate rent.
Yeah.
We want to buy a house, and sure, you buy nothing where we were. We were in South Dublin, kind of in the scary direction.
Yeah.
You buy nothing, like, you know, it is. And we went, let's go back to, and turns out anything I need to do, I can do, no problem here.
Yeah, that's
you know
actually
what I mean?
the thing.
And
I
even
mean, we can live anywhere now.
I did a gig the other night, actual stand-up gig in Galway.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what it was like on a huge, massive screen. Myself and Jason Byrne and Lisa Casey. It was brilliant, and they had people people's actual proper head size were in the room with you. You know what I mean? It was very snazzy. They're going to do
amazing.
They're going to do the comedy festival later in the year like that, with probably limited with limited capacity, I suppose, but like that as well. But it was very cool. But what I was saying was, normally driving from Dublin to Galway, you want to be setting yourself 2 hours, 45 minutes, 3 hours. I was up and down in an hour and 40 minutes the other night, and I was like,
really?
Right, grand.
From Tipperary, yeah.
So it made, you know, that makes
so much sense. Yeah, it's going to change the world in some ways for the better. I produced a couple of shows out here, and both venues have gone. Like, they're just there was one club literally closed its doors in April of last year, couldn't stay open at all. And then the other place was a little bar, like a little neighborhood bar. We do a monthly show there, gone as well. And they all tried to do a GoFundMe to try and save it, but sure, look at what can you do. So then we started doing Zoom shows, but I don't know now if Zoom has changed, but last year, April, May, June, I didn't think it was working. I'll be honest with you. I just didn't think the Zoom shows were working.
They don't work as stand-up anyway. So what I've been doing is formulated kind of game show events.
Oh, great.
Hosting. That's now, I mean, it's the only fucking way they'll work. Like, do you know what I mean? And you literally have a tech linked into the call as well, who's controlling people's faces, so they can pull them down beside you when you want to have a chat, throw them back up. You know what I mean? Great.
Yeah, because in the beginning, somebody come in with their dog, and then somebody else would be eating their dinner, and then you just see the person eating their dinner. The sound would go to that, you know. So it's it was, and then I was always on the punchline. So then you're like, oh, nobody laughed at that.
Yeah. Oh, killer. And no, at least Zoom it's upgraded a small bit from that too. But when you have a fella controlling the whole thing, they will control as long as your face is talking. Yeah. And then they'll go to the crowd. Great. You know what I mean? So it is. That's
great. Jesus. I mean, the Comedy Store out here, God, like.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Their doors closed for a year. I mean, the people I knew that was their only source of income. Like, Jesus, it's just. I mean, and some people I know have done. There's been drive-in shows. Irvine Improv have been doing drive-in shows, but they were ridiculously expensive. Like, because I suppose you could get 5 or 6 people into a car, but you can't really in quarantine. Who are you going to call? Like 5 other friends to go in the car, but you can't do that. But they were charging like $125 for a car, you know, to go out to the parking lot, and it was like, for fuck's sake, you know.
It is, it's a fright. And was there ever a period where it opened up for a while and closed back down again, like here?
No,
or has it been continuously fucking locked?
It's been continuously locked. And like in any of the clubs, like Comedy Store is gone. How they're managing, I think now, is they had a podcast, so they just upped their podcast, and I think they're doing more podcasts. And then let's say the Comedy Store regulars are all involved in the podcast. I think that's what they're doing. And then the Improv, it's only saving grace, the Improv in Hollywood, was that it had good food. So they were doing just takeaway with food and cocktails, but I don't know if they were open for anything like other than that. So it's been really hard. It's been really hard. Like live shows, live theatre, all that. It's just, and you know, people said to me, like, my show was supposed to go up the 18th of March.
That was Confessions, was it?
Confessions of a Catholic Nymphomaniac, yeah. And
I mean, it's in the, like, I love, you know, I love a good title that there's no fucking mystery. There's no mystery like that.
No mystery. And actually, it was quite a good little format. I recorded a little piece with a priest, like an actor pretending to be a priest at the beginning. And so he was there hearing my confession at the beginning. And I kneeled down. I had my kneeler, loads of fucking props and the whole lot. I spent a fortune. And I was going to go in and kneel down, and we're going to hear a bit of organ music and the whole lot. And I was going to, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. It's been 35 years since my last confession. And then that was kind of going to start out. He was going to go, what, have you any sins? And, you know, and I was going to talk back and forth with the screen for a bit. We'll say this is the priest. And then I would get into, well, my first sexual experience and blah, 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 blah. And then carry on the whole journey of my life. And it wasn't all about sex now, but sex is a big part. And then the journeys that sort of took me, you know, the tangents, the bad sex and all the other shit that happened, you know, the stuff, the self-loathing, all the stuff that went on, the depression, the blah, blah, drink, drugs, whatever, all the usual good stuff that's in a show, you know. And then by the end of it, I was like, the very last line was like, and another thing, Father, I don't want to be Catholic anymore. And he's like, Jesus, you're not the only one. So by the end of it, I turned to the priest, and he was leaving the church as well after hearing all my great stories about my life. So, but then a lot of people said to me, why didn't you do it as there's a lot of, I mean, I'm part of a solo show community out here as well. And a lot of them were doing the show on Zoom. And again, I don't think it works. And I made the decision not to put it up because it was a piece of live theatre. And as you know, and because I've done stand-up, you want the audience there. You want to interact with them. And I'd written lines that will say, we're going to be interactive. So the audience, a line would come up on a screen behind, and the audience would get to say this line, and then I could react. So you would have lost all of that with the Zoom. And then people would have thought the show was shit as opposed to the medium was shit. Yeah. You know, so I thought, had it gone up before, and you know, people that have been doing their shows 5 or 6 times, and the show was already in some kind of a format, it was okay to put it up on Zoom. But I thought the very first time this goes up, it needs to be in front of a real live audience, you know. So I didn't put it up. And then the other thing was, like, it's not really a piece of theatre if it's on, you know, you're recording it in a room.
No, it's not.
It's just not. Like, it kind of defies the logic of what the experience of theatre is, because you're there in the moment with the audience, and it's a shared experience. Like, you're on stage and the audience is part of that experience, and you can come out of it and go, Jesus, that was a bit heavy there, wasn't it? Are you all right? Like, you can say something like that. Like, or to bring him back in, because like there was, as with any, you know, you're taken on a journey with any show, there's a few punch in the guts moments, like for tension, you know. I mean, it wasn't all funny. A lot of it was funny, but well, I mean, again, I don't know. Could have been all shit. I didn't get to do it in front of an audience at all. But I think I will do it. But obviously I'll rewrite it. I spent a lot of. Then I thought last year, I spent a lot of last year rewriting it, because I thought, oh, well, we're all going to open up again probably November, October, and I'll get to put it up. So I kind of rewrote it. And then I read it on Zoom for a few mates, like about August or September, thinking I'd get to put it up. And then I thought, you know what? That was enough now. I got to do it for a few friends on Zoom. That'll do for now, because by the time we open up again, this is going to be a different show, because the world is different and I'm different. Like, I'm a different person after this pandemic. And then all of the things I was talking about, my relationship, like, we weren't married when I wrote the show, and then we were supposed to get married, and then we ended up having to go to Vegas to get married in November. And then he got cancer after we were married for 2 months. So we got a cancer diagnosis. There in over Christmas. So now he's having chemotherapy. So that's a whole other thing. And we've managed to find the humor in that as well. Yeah. So, you know, there'll be something else to say, like, by the time it's been an eventful year, and you know, there'll be something else to say by the time. And also, you know what it's like, you have to take the pulse or the temperature of the world when you do a piece of art. You drop that piece of art into the world at that time. And, you know, a lot of the success of a show depends on what the pulse or the temperature of the world is like when you drop it in. So, I mean, I'll have to rewrite the second half of the show. And I'm probably not going to do that until I know theatres are open, we can get back in. And then it's like, what do I want to say now? Who am I now, as opposed to who was I, you know? When I did the ayahuasca, when I was trying to think of things to do for the show, you know, and who am I now? And as well as that, I spent a lot of time. I don't know, how old are you?
39.
39, yeah. You're younger than me. Okay, Jesus, will I say my age? Fuck.
She's
I'm about to reveal my age.
She's all right. I look old as fuck anyway.
You don't know, you still got your hair.
Thereabouts anyway, yeah.
We still got you. That's
it's green screen hair. It's all green screen. The hair is just.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It comes off with the back chop. It clips them over. And the wig
clips
goes
them over
with
behind us. Just come walk away.
It's a toupee. But I'm 48, so I have a couple of years on you.
You're fresh. You're fresh, in fairness. You're minding
Thanks very
yourself
much.
out in LA, in
And
fairness to you.
we've a bad angle there and all with the old iPad, I don't have the right light. But well, here's the thing, and this was in my show as well. I think honestly, it's easier to come out as trans or gay than it is to come out about your age in a place like LA. Like it really is.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
And like, we need to come out about our age as women. We need, because age is actually a brilliant, it's a wonderful thing, and with age comes wisdom and grace and a shit ton of stories. Like, so why would you not want to say your age? Because there's all of these, the gravitas that we have as older women, we didn't have when we were even 35.
But just more badges of honor you get. Like, I think I've always wanted to be out, because I was like, all the cool people were old because they had all the cool shit to talk about, and they knew more stuff than I did.
So true. And the wisdom, and you've been to hell and back a few times, like by the time you get to, your mid 40s or 50, like you have, and I'm not afraid to talk about that. And here's the other thing that took me such a long fucking time I don't care what my parents think anymore.
Right.
I don't know if you had this at all, but I mean, certainly as an Irish woman, because the whole, the culture of Catholicism and the Catholic Church, it's all about repressing women, really. And if I could get up in a fucking soapbox about this, I mean, if you look at it, all of it, everything was about, even the whole scandal of the babies and children, that 9,000 babies. I mean, the whole, it was always on the women. Women got pregnant. Women were the outcasts. Women were what about these men that got them pregnant? And some of them might have been married. Some of them might have been their fathers. Who knows? And these women became outcasts. And it just, my heart aches for that part of Ireland that the Catholic Church ruined. It ruined. And so I was so delighted when gay marriage got in, because it's like two fingers up to the church that has been trying to repress women and gay people. And the thing is, if you do that to women and gay people and trans people, you end up, the culture is fucked. It's fucked if you just sort of honor patriarchy. The whole culture suffers, I think. So I think the culture of Catholicism in Ireland, the people suffered, and I think my parents and my grandparents, and going back along through the lineage that I met in ayahuasca, they all suffered from this. And I think they then projected their fears and worries onto me as a young girl growing up in Ireland who was mad for sex, because why wouldn't you be? And I was curious about everything, and I was obviously very curious about something.
Oh, was it a kind of repressed area you were in? Like, because I've spoken to people too, and I don't, and I've asked my sisters and even my mother, like the women around. Yeah. This is the strange thing. I don't know, is this a weird fucking micro bubble or whatever where I grew up? All the women run the show around here, and I always have. It's the weird, and religion.
That's an Irish thing too.
But religion has never been top of the pops around here. It's always been sport. Sport was even like so.
Curling.
It's always been area. Religion was area, and everybody was kind of area. It was never like I don't actually ever remember growing up Catholic, even though I definitely did. But it was never in my head. It was like, oh, that's a thing. Oh, grand. But you're like, there's crack to be had over here, so we'll leave that. Yeah. So and loads of my friends didn't grow. I grown spoke like my friend from Owen Colgan. He's one of the Hardy Bucks in Sligo. He grew up. I don't know, is it a West thing or what? But he was exactly like you. He said, Jesus Christ.
Maybe it is.
He left school and sure he didn't know whether he'd a leg or a flute, or was that a girl or was it just a pretty looking boy? He didn't know what the world was at all until he was about 25.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ. No. Like,
and how old is he? Is he your age or is he older?
No, he's about my age. Yeah.
Is he? Yeah.
I
wonder if it was a West Country, or if it was, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if it was my age, but then, it could be just a singular experience based on my parents.
No, I've definitely talked to friends and stuff from around the country who have sound stories very similar to you now, like, that kind of way.
I mean, the other thing is, like, everyone's, I mean, and my parents weren't even that religious. And, I probably didn't go to mass, honestly, since I was 14. And the only time then we'd be back in mass was for a wedding or a funeral.
Yeah.
But I think it was within the culture. And it's how sex is viewed and how sexuality is viewed, particularly for women and for gay and trans people. I mean, and it's the lens by which it's viewed that really annoys me. Like it's seen as a bit scandalous, you know, if a woman is sexual, and you know, and it might be just, that might be the world over. It's seen
It's
as a bit
definitely an Irish and
scandalous.
British thing anyway, for sure. It's
It's
definitely an
somebody
Irish and
comes
British
out.
thing. Yeah. I mean, if you like,
Yeah.
if you're, you know, I'm pretty sure there are Latino people across Europe, you know, where that's not an issue at all. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, because they're Catholics too. And you look at, you know, the Latin, you know, you look at Italy or you look at South America, and I mean, they're mad for it.
Yeah.
And it's celebrated. But here's the dichotomy. It's like, it's meant to be enjoyed. Sex is amazing.
Is it the rain, Emma? Is that what it is? Is it the fucking out rain? It's fucking ruined it for everybody. Is that it? Get indoors with a big out coat on you and don't come out again.
Fucking rain, yeah. It is. But like, we're supposed to procreate, so we're supposed to be doing it all the fucking time, all the time. So why it ever became this thing that people became detached from their bodies and their, you know, their sexuality? Like it's you know, I think we should all be in touch with our sexuality and, you know, have sex with as many people as you want.
There's an Australian fella starting up a festival for men and women. It's a wank festival or a wank competition. I don't know. I don't know how. I need to look into more. God. I literally only saw it the other day. There was a fucking. Well, I must read up on this, because how is this?
Will it all be on Zoom?
Jesus!
Will it all be on Zoom?
Stop the fucking internet to freeze at the wrong time.
Oh my God, that's mental. That is mental.
But it's going to be competitive anyway, which is great. Great to have a bit of competition involved. I don't know how they're going to measure.
Last to come on a biscuit. Last fella to come on a biscuit. Jesus, that's hilarious. And I wonder, will they be marking you for like how far you can project, or whether if your penis is upright or to the slant, or, you know, most upright penis. And I wonder, will there be
I'd say so. Yeah, sure. To be like the, you know, the best dressed girl at the fucking Galway races, like to do the same thing, like, you know.
Jeez, that's hilarious.
Best dressed Mickey.
That's best dressed Mickey. That's hilarious. There was a woman out here. She died recently. She's a legend. Her name was stop. I'm fucking after forgetting her name now. She was a legend. Oh, I've forgotten. Betty Dodson. So she died at the age of about 88 there a few months ago. She was a sex educator, and she ran masturbation workshops for women in New York, out of her apartment in New York. Yeah. And I mean, I get that her generation and maybe my mother's generation, women of that age, but apparently there was a big spate of women that had never had an orgasm, and she was out to change that. And so she taught these masturbation workshops, and there was women turning up to the workshops, and a friend of mine did the whole thing, wrote a book and everything about it all. And that's how I kind of initially found out about her. And I'm sad to say that I never got to go to, because I was actually well up for going to one of these workshops just for the crack. Like,
jeez, you're in LA, surely, but shit, there's something in fucking LA that would.
Well, do you know what? It's funny, we live in Long Beach, and right before the pandemic, because I thought, again, purely for research for the show, as you understand yourself, I thought I'm going to find a woman who teaches masturbation workshop, and I found somebody who lived in Long Beach, and I found somebody in Long Beach that was actually trained by Betty Dodson, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually going to do it. And then of course the pandemic, I don't think anyone will be lying in a circle masturbating now for a long time, but
you said it like it's fucking. I don't think there'll be anybody now fucking drinking tea outdoors for a long time now. I
masturbate in a circle indoors now. Maybe they could do it outdoors.
What's the technique called? Like, because you can't come away from like getting to black belt of that. Like, it must be a thing. You know what I mean? Like, jujitsu is jujitsu. Like, what's that?
I would just call it wanking. Black belt in wanking. I mean, she was interviewed. You know, Gwyneth Paltrow has this whole. She's doing this Goop series for Netflix. So she interviewed Gwyneth Paltrow. Interviewed her, and actually, it's kind of funny to see Gwyneth Paltrow squirming a little bit about talking about masturbation. But I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you could. Betty obviously loves to shock. She's dead now. She loved to shock people talking about it, and you don't know where your clitoris is, you don't know what your vulva is called, you know, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry, what's it called again? Like, you don't know the proper anatomical words for your own vagina or whatever. But I was kind of sorry, I must say, that I didn't get to to meet her and do her workshop. But she uses, you won't know about these things, but every woman of my age and a little bit younger will know what these are. There's a wand, Hitachi wand, and it's a vibrator that you plug into the wall, and it's about the size of the baby's fist holding an apple.
If a fucking Hitachi make it, are you sure the thing isn't fucking diesel powered?
I could get it for you now, but I'd have to go to the other rooms, so I won't. But I don't have anything here with it. But you plug it into the wall, and it's basically like a power vibrator. And that was, I mean, it's like a power tool.
Is that for concrete or for?
It should be like a Kango hammer. You could probably cut diamonds with it, I tell you. But but anyway, this was her tool. This is her main tool, and you'd go to the workshop and you'd get one of these. And then the worst part, you'd have to give it back at the end of the day.
Jesus. Jesus.
They'd all get washed. Now, this is obviously pre-COVID times. They'd all get washed. And then
even
the next
fucking
round
still, like, all right, fuck that. Give that a rub down, Gareth, before you run it under the tap there, will you?
I know, right? Oh, Jesus. Now, here's another story. I actually did have one, and I did break it. I was trying to wash it under the tap while it was still plugged in. Imagine dying by electrocution. How did she die? She was washing her vibrator that was still plugged into the wall.
That's amazing. The great best story of all time. That's how you want to go. Fucking big smiley head in you.
I hope none of my family, fuck it, I don't care. This is my parents are not my audience. They won't be listening to this.
Oh, don't worry. My mother listens to this, so she'd be delighted. She's on that out.
Of course she would. Everyone's mother is delighted except my own mother, which is always the way. But actually, it's funny because pre-COVID, I was thinking, Jesus, I might do this as a bit of a sidebar. I might do this as kind of a side job. Yeah. Maybe I'll hold masturbation workshops in my apartment. Maybe I was actually thinking I was going to
do it over Zoom
before she died. But I was going to go off and get trained with Betty Dodson, and then maybe become a masturbator educator. I'll put that on my bucket list. Maybe when things open up again, I'll see what I run some masturbation workshops.
I think Foss do a course and something similar. All right.
Do they? Yeah.
You do, yeah.
Oh, I tell you could make money doing anything out here. There's actually somebody, again, all pre-COVID, this woman, and she was a friend of a friend. I never met her myself, but she was charging people for cuddles. Cuddles. But actually, I think this is fucking inspired, because people need connection. Really, they do. They need hugs. That's what's wrong with people more. And especially, I think, in COVID times, if you were living on your own or anything, people need touch. They need hugs. I think that was brilliant. And now it would be a bit much. It would be a bit more if you wanted to do a lie down cuddle. This was more money.
Right? Yeah.
You could do a lie down cuddle with your clothes on, just lying down, like this with the clothes on. This would be more money.
Oh, is she a big strong woman now? Because you wouldn't
I never got to meet her. People were fucking paying for this, like.
But sure, look at. Well, it was ironic. A thing popped up the other day that you said that pre-COVID and during COVID, ironically, people need physical contact and whatnot and hugs and stuff. And I remember Michael D. Higgins was on the Tommy Tiernan show. The clip is on YouTube. You should give it a look, brilliant. Because
I will. I love Tommy.
He's sure Michael D. is one of the most magical people of all. He not only sounds magical, looks magical, but he's an incredible orator. But he says, what do people, he asked him, he said, what do we need to, as a nation, what should we do? And he says, we should touch each other more. We should be hugging and touching and kissing each other more. And it was funny. And literally fucking 2 months later, fucking this shit kicked in. It was,
and then that's why people were getting animals. Everyone's getting dogs, because again, you need the contact, like you need touch, like it's the most important thing. And I mean, and there's been even research into this, babies that were born because they thought that's what they needed, but actually what they really needed was touch. And they would find that these children they'd end up with kind of little emotional disorders later on, or the inability to connect properly with their mother, or to make adult connections, love relationships later. And the reason was that they'd been starved of, like, when they were like 7 months, they've been born at 7 months, so that 2 month period where they're still inside and they're listening to their mother's heartbeat and all the rest of it, and they were completely missing that. So the development didn't happen. And so now with preemie babies, you have to apparently keep touching them, and they have to have the skin on skin contact. That's the most important thing. But it's so interesting, like, you know, how they didn't even put that together, that the touch and the, you know, baby needs to be touched and held, and that's a baby will die like if it doesn't get the love that it needs, you know.
Oh, this is,
I don't know if anyone's experimented on that now. That would be a hard one to experiment on, to see if a baby would die if we just didn't hug it. Let's just see what happens.
No, you'd probably end up being a fucking politician with Fine Gael or something.
It's like, there you go.
And tell me this, when did you, because the only time we got to meet was Limerick and Dolan's that night.
Yeah. I remember that was great. That was a great night. And
you were only back for a while. Was that wasn't the last time you were home, but how long you?
That was Christmas 2018.
It was.
My boyfriend proposed on Christmas Day that year.
Right. Because I was in the panto. That's the reason why I was able to do Dolan's. I do the panto every year. Yeah.
We saw it, sure. We went out to see you.
Did you?
Yeah, we loved it. We did. We went out to see. It was brilliant.
And is himself
We
American?
were the only couple there with no kids.
Is himself American? Did he ever see a panto before?
Yeah, he's from Ohio. He's Jewish from Ohio. But, you know, the Jews and the Catholics, and we've the same kind of guilt, so it's fine. We've loads in common.
But definitely the Jews and the Irish anyway. There's a fucking lot there, like.
Oh yeah, I mean, the same dark sense of humor.
Yeah. But when did you go out? Was it 15 or 16 years ago, if I remember you correctly?
No, I'm here now since 2009, so 12 years. But before that, I was in London. I was in London for 16 years before. So I moved. I mean, I left Ireland in '94, and listen to the accent. I'm out of Ireland longer than I was ever in it. And I'm still talking like an innocent woman.
That's fair ignorant. You lived in London, two of the fucking, like, the cultural hotspots of the world, two of the biggest cities in the world, London, then California, and you're still sounding like you're about to head to Liston-Varna.
I am, yeah. I never left Ennis. But it's funny, I was living in London for 16 years, and I did a bit of broadcast journalism, you know, and so I went to City University, and I had a little bit of a West Brit accent.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, I spoke very well so I could be understood. And of course, I'd go home and I'd get the piss ripped out of me.
Proper order.
I mean, I have two brothers, and I can't understand them on a good day. And my mother would nearly slap the head off me now for pretending like she'd think I was totally full of shit, for having any kind of an accent. So if ever I was, and it's totally unconscious, like I'd be at home and the phone would ring and it'd be one of my friends from London. I'd go, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And
I'll go in.
"Oh, hi, how are you?" And then the piss would be ripped out of me for the whole night. And then whenever I'd call home, "Oh, hi, how are you?" They'd be like, you know, there's just no time for it. They came out to visit me then out here, and a few years ago, maybe in 2013 or something. And I took them out to the Getty Museum in Malibu for a drive, right. And then we were deciding to go someplace else after, and we came out at the bottom of the museum, and I'm like, I was in the car and I thought, I'll just scroll out the window and I'm going to ask the security guard there at the gate, do we go right or left to get to the restaurant? And I just screwed down the window, and purely so I could be understood, I went, "Hi, where is PCH this way?" And it was just, and then I put up the window. "What kind of an accent is that? Where do you think you're from?" And I was like, "What? You're Irish. Why are you talking like that?" I was just, and my mother could be vicious, let me tell you, when she gets going. I'm like, Mum, I was just trying to be understood. You're Irish. I don't know why you're putting on this affectation, this accent. Why would you want to be American? I'm like, oh, silence in the car then.
I remember, but it's sometimes easier. Like I remember standing.
You just want to be understood.
I was in Vegas one time looking for a cup of fucking tea off this one. I was dying, absolutely fucking dying. And she was looking at me like she was in ignorant mode, and I was in fairly ignorant mode. And I was just, "Can I get a cup of tea, please?" She said, "What?" I was like, "Cup of tea, please. Whenever you're ready, there, please, love." What? And I stood there going, "You ignorant bitch." But then I was being as ignorant. I wouldn't. After about a minute, I went, "Excuse me, ma'am, could I get some English tea, please?" And she went, "Yeah, no problem, sir." And I was like, you bitch, you knew what I was saying. But
she did, and she's in the hospitality industry, not you. So she should have been. If you were speaking Chinese, she should have been able to understand you. You're a bitch.
But I remember working with it was in the same panto, but it was a couple of years previous to Samantha Mumba, and Samantha was there. We're having a bit of a read
It's
through.
lovely. I've met her. She's lovely.
Unreal crack, like.
Lovely.
And next thing she was speaking with a bit of an American accent, and about 3 lines in, I says, "Fuck sake, Mumba, I can't do fucking 3 weeks of this now. I can't do 3 weeks of this." I said, if we were behind in fucking LA, we could do this. But now we're sitting in a fucking, or almost in Ballymun, doing a fucking, come on now.
She has her transatlantic accent.
But to be fair to her, she started roaring laughing. She goes, "You're some bollocks." She goes, I can't help it. I'm over there years, and it's just easier.
Yeah.
Tis just easy. She goes, "You try and order a fucking lettuce inside in the place."
Yeah.
And the next thing, they're looking at you with 3 heads.
It's so true. Or like butter. If I'm looking for butter, and I go in, I love my Kerrygold. But if I'm in the supermarket, like looking for, I have to say butter.
Oh, change it to D, butter.
Or they know. Ridiculous. Better. Yeah. Ridiculous. I think she's still out here, Samantha Mumba.
Oh, she is, yeah. No, she is, yeah. She married.
But I have a few friends that actually moved. Oh, she's married out here as well.
Oh, yeah.
I met her one time out a few years ago, but she was lovely. But so she's obviously settled and doing well. But a few of my friends have actually moved back since the pandemic.
Have they?
There's a great fella that if you've not met, you should meet. Dave Nihil, do you know him?
A bunch of lads I know had gigged with him. He put together. We started following each other, and I'd say we were going to start talking about, because he did a bit of an Irish tour with Irish comedians around the States.
I did last year. I did a gig last year for them, but he's lovely. He's so nice. But I think he was based in San Francisco, but I think with the pandemic, he's moved back to Dublin. I was getting a few emails from him here and there, but he'd be a great interview for you now as well, actually.
That's a good idea.
He's full of crack. He's full of crack, and he's very nice. So yeah. But who else? There's a couple of actor friends of mine moved back as well. One of them moved back to Dublin. She was married out here to an American and moved the husband and the baby back, and they're back living in Dublin now. So, and here's the thing, I think the whole pandemic has taught us we can live anywhere. Like I was even saying to my husband, like, do we really need to live? As long as I can be driving distance to LA. But even at that, like, you can self-tape for anyone to live in the center of it anymore. You just don't, which I think is actually, it's beneficial to everybody. Obviously, the only thing is it means that people are now moving out of the cities. This is what you've done too, moving to. Which actually is probably better for the cities too, because there'll be far less overcrowding in the cities. It'll actually be a bit nicer experience to walk around.
The roads will free up, I'm telling you. Like I don't know if the same exodus happened out of Dublin and these places, like, but was there a big exodus? Because you that's all you hear is there was a massive exodus out of the likes of New York and out of the likes of LA.
And LA, yeah. There was, definitely. Just even from my personal circle, I know friends that have bought places in Idlewild, and somebody else I know is moving to San Diego, and people are just realizing that what they thought they needed to be in LA for, they can do online. Like there was a woman I knew, a lovely woman who runs a stand-up comedy class, and she had a kind of a little club where you could, on Melrose, where you could do your kind of a workout clinic, if you like, for jokes and stuff. But she's moving to San Diego because everything's gone online now. There's a lot of Zoom open mics as well, which I haven't even tried. But everything's gone online. So why do you need to be in LA and pay expensive rent to live, and on a lease on the premises as well? Anyone that didn't own their premises. I mean, the only reason the Comedy Store and the Improv are still there is because they own their buildings. I mean, if those buildings were leased, they'd be screwed.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah, forget about it. And where would you go? Where do you think you'd go? Where'd be nice now to go? That'd be a handy price, would say.
Well, the only thing is that my husband is having chemo now, so we're here for. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, because the assholes that own our flat just gave us 60-day notice yesterday, even though they know he's got cancer, and I'm like, fucking live it. Like and my mother was like, well, yes, you better jump up and down. If there was ever a time to jump up and down, now is the right time. So anyway, Daniel wouldn't let me deal with it. He's like, I'll deal with it. And I was like, I was going to get Irish on them.
Yeah.
But we are going to speak to lawyers, because apparently the law is that they're not allowed to, and we're still paying our rent, but they're not allowed to evict anyone in LA before June. But when your tenant is going through chemotherapy, to give them their notice and expect them to move out of the house.
Jesus Christ, that's bad-minded fucker.
Yeah, really bad. I mean, but that's just fucking Americans for you. I mean, I'm so livid about this place sometimes, but the system of capitalism is all about taking what you can and elbowing out everyone else. And that's where and then it shows up like this. Because like I own property in London, and if one of my tenants came to me and said, you know, I'm going through, I'd be like, oh Jesus, like I'll sell my flat when you're get yourself better. And then I would think I'm paying it forward and somebody else would be doing me a favor. That's how it'll come back to me. But these cunts, excuse me, but that's what they are. Grant. Like we told them he's got cancer. He can't move anywhere for the next 5 or 6 months. And then they give us a 60-day notice. So do you know what I'm going to do? I probably shouldn't say this on air, but when they won't be listening to this anyway, I'm going to put something in their in the air vent before we move out.
Are you going to shit in it?
No, not shit. Oh, but you're giving me a better idea.
That's my first thought. Shit in the air vent.
I was going to put fish or shrimp or something. Is that illegal? Can I get arrested now? Oh God. Well, is that very bad? I think that's just fucking karma. Karma, bitches. Karma.
I just take a load of ayahuasca, shit into the bucket, and throw it up. Leave the bucket up inside.
leave it inside in a teapot. Leave a teapot up there on the worktop for them. Oh God. So we were thinking, where could we move to? And here's the thing. I mean, I would move back to Europe. Like, I mean, I totally would. I don't think I'd move back to London now because Brexit has fucked itself. Like it's all over the place. But I mean, I would probably live in Dublin, and I would definitely live in Spain or Portugal or Ibiza.
All the lads I know are gone to Barcelona.
Oh, fabulous. Well, only thing is I don't speak Spanish, but of course you probably have it learned in a year if you were actually, you know, immersed in the culture.
You'd have it learned in 6 weeks. You'd have enough learned in 6 weeks.
Yeah, you're right. And you probably
here's the thing. I've gigged in Barcelona a few times.
Have you? In English?
Yeah. And it is embarrassing how good their language is, like how good they are at English. Good enough they know it's an Irish comedian on the show, and they'll still come because their English is impeccable. Like, so we're the only lulas who have only fucking one accent. When you go to Central Europe, like Natasha's brothers all have at least minimum 3 accents, three languages, minimum. 3 languages. One lad has probably close to 7, because you just have to, and that's that.
But sure, it's not our fault, Tom. Blame the English again. We can blame the English for that. It's not our fault. They had us for 800 years, the fucking bastards. It's not our fault. Blame someone else as usual. But the only thing is, my husband he works in financial services, and the only thing is he's 54 now, and he's only trained in the financial services industries here. So, I mean, unless I got some big series or something that took us back to Ireland or the UK or someplace else.
But sure, fucking Bank of America are here. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the Visa are here. You know? Visas have just moved their head office from London to Dublin because of Brexit.
Have they?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Do you know what I mean? Moolah is moolah.
So there's opportunities everywhere. And I suppose the world is getting smaller, which is a good thing. You know, it really is getting smaller.
Oh, yeah. This is the thing.
You can do anything, like, and you can be anywhere, really. Like, you don't have to live there.
I'm sitting in South Tipperary chatting to you in fucking LA. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, so
I should probably show you my view.
Jeez, go on, show off there now. Show us a look. I'll describe this for the audio listeners. At the moment, we're looking at Emma's ear. Now, let's go out the window.
Hold on. No, Jesus, hold on. Can I turn this? Can I turn it the other way? I'm trying to. I don't know if you can see.
I wished. I can't. Stop. You're actually on. It's like fucking Baywatch.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It actually is.
Jesus.
Hold on. I'm going to walk out to the balcony to give you a much better view. You better see the whole.
This is a first now for the podcast. We're nearly 200 episodes in, and nobody's ever walked me out to their balcony before. So
and look how big the apartment is.
You have a lovely setup there now.
A big apartment is like a first for LA as well. So anyway, it's beautiful.
Oh Lord, save us and guard us. Look at this fucking place. No shortage of boats anyway. Holy fuck.
Yeah, and there's the marinas down there. It is gorgeous.
That's unreal. And is it LA you're in? It is Los Angeles you're in, is it?
Yeah, this is Long Beach, which is still LA County, but just the kind of just south of LA. It is beautiful. We love it, and it's fucking expensive. And now they're turfing us out. We got a 60-day notice.
Jeez, yeah, that's fucking rough.
But it'll be fine. I mean, I'm ever the optimist, and I'm saying, look, we'll find somewhere nicer, or or whatever. We'll find somewhere that We will. We'll find somewhere better.
You will, like, this is the thing, you will. Like that, we were, I mean, it was a big, as not a big a move, but it was a big move to fucking just uproot ourselves from where we were the last. And because all your crutches in your head are going, I need to be around these. But just out, this ignorant fucking thing cracked in my brain, literally standing in front of the barbecue last July. I went, fuck this fucking place. Man.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You don't need to live there. Why would you? And now you've probably got a gorgeous 4 or 5 bedroom house and a big garden, the whole lot. Jesus, amazing.
Yeah.
And a back garden and a front garden.
Well, 4 acres is enough of an area.
Oh my God, wow, beautiful.
But just even just gas, we were down at I was over my mother's. It's ridiculous. We were looking for a place. We ended up only over the road from my mother. I was over helping her with a thing the other day, and it was just a bit of rockery, whatever. And while we were there for an hour, 5 different people pulled in. Because we're out at the gate, like pulled in. Well, how are you? And nobody was in a fucking rush, no place. It was lovely.
They're not, are
lovely.
They? It's brilliant. It's actually lovely. Yeah, you really find that when you get out of cities.
Like I rang, it was funny, I was in City Brain a couple of weeks ago because we were only just here, and my grandfather, he turned 100. And yeah, sure, they live fair long. Like his mother was 100, like his father, I think, was even into his late 90s as well. Like, but but for the crack, what we did, right? We bought him a certificate.
You just broke up there.
I think both of us froze for a moment, did it?
Oh, go on. Yeah, go on.
What he did, we bought him lordship in Scotland. So you can buy these things where you make somebody a lord in Scotland or whatever. And for the crack, we did it. And, I said, what we'll do? We'll get the certificate printed off properly now. And I emailed it to a fella in Tipperary town. And I emailed it off to this printers. And the following day I rang at like lunchtime and I was like, but in my head it was like, this guy should have fucking emailed me back to say he was ready or acknowledged it or whatever, man. Because this is how business happens, right?
How we do things in Dublin.
What a fucking asshole I felt like, because I rang the bloke and he went, he didn't say, hello, this is fucking whatever printing. He just went, well. I went, well, totally disarmed me. It disarmed. Yeah. I love that. It disarmed me immediately. And I went, oh, well. Brilliant. And he says, Tom and Man here, I emailed you through a thing yesterday. The cert. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah. That printed out. You're toddle in whenever you want there. So that's grand. I went in and your man didn't even want to charge me for printing it. He was like, fuck it. I mean, what do I want one old fucking page on car? I don't know what. Do you know? And he's leaning on the counter and there's all chat. Do you know? And you're going, this is fucking class.
Brilliant.
It doesn't get you in, get you out,
It's so lovely when you've lived in a city for so long to get that. It really is. Oh, that's when you have more kids.
I don't know. I mean, for the minute, I suppose just getting, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. It won't be fully my call anyway.
You're just going to show up and do the business.
That's whatever's needed. I no bother. I am great at that. Whatever's needed, no bother. No bother. So I've taken up.
My brother got caught there in that. My brother got caught. My brother's having a second baby. They're due in about 2 weeks. No, Jesus, everyone. Yeah, they got caught there in the lockdown, the first lockdown.
It's so funny they got caught.
Those are my brother's words. We got caught in the lockdown. But loads of people did.
Yeah, there's the word. It's the best time to have a kid, I suppose, really that young, because they don't know the difference.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally. Now, it's so funny though. But I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. She had her baby is 7 months, but she said he doesn't know people because everyone he's seen has just been on Zoom. The only people he's met has been his own parents, which is so weird. Like, but he's like, he was on the Zoom and like, all like this, he's 7 months and like, because he's, this is what he's seen. He's looking at the faces and engaging and stuff because that's what he's used to. So kind of weird.
That's another thing we're very conscious of, like literally down at the gate. Like if you were down there doing anything at all, there'll be somebody stopping after 5 minutes ago. Well, so we have him down. He's waving at all sorts. There was a lad down there with a small mini digger the other day, and he let him sit up in it and pull on the yokes, and he was delighted with stuff. So it's physically seeing people, like, but yeah, you could totally see how a child could become totally fucking fishbowled, like going,
yeah.
People are real outside of this place, right? Okay.
Yeah. You don't just see them on screens.
I was looking down through before I was looking down through because your IMDb, you've a fucking load of great credits. And one that jumped out at me though, because I was just going, this is funny. Just it was a film called oh Jesus, what the fuck was it? I had it open and I'm some bollocks now, and it was the preaching for the
Preaching to the Perverted. That was one of the first things I ever did.
I was this is what a great name. What a great
Preaching
name.
to the Perverted. And it didn't do as well as they thought it might do, but it's some kind of a, I don't know, it was made in the 90s. I think they thought it was going to be a bit like the Rocky Horror Show, but I don't think the plot was too thick.
Right.
I think the plot wasn't great with it, but I can't even remember now what it was. But yeah, it was. I mean, I suppose back in the 90s, and they were making a film. There was a lot of voyeurs, and I think this was made from the point of view of a voyeur, that he wanted to sort of get involved in the fetish scene, and he was meeting some mistress, and she was taking him on a journey. And the mistress was the woman that became the mistress. She was some famous actress. I can't remember what her name is now. But whoever was the lead, anyway, she was the dominatrix and took this fella on. I suppose a bit like the one with Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson. What was that? 50 Shades.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It was a similar kind of a setup, like,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that 50 Shades, that was a heap of shite, that 50 Shades of Grey.
Possibly one of the worst fucking things. I had to watch it I had to rewrite it down to a 10-minute thing for this fundraiser that people were doing. This crowd I was doing, they were shooting short versions of major movies, and they'd ask me to cut it down. And most movies would make perfect sense. They go, great, this is, because they were blockbusters, they were Oscar winners. You go, this, I can see why you'd want, like they did with a lad who was in a wheelchair, and he really wanted to he was the favorite guy in the whole village, and he wanted to do My Left Foot. So the movie is actually perfect when you see it in script form and you compress it. You're like, oh, this is actually a perfect story, the way it's been
well
done.
written. Yeah.
Phenomenal. But the next thing, this crowd desperate, I think they were in fucking Portlaoise or something. They were this GA club. They were desperate to do 50 Shades. And I'm like, you can't pay me enough to sit through this movie, because you'd have to watch it a bunch of times, make notes where you're going to cut.
And decide what were the important what were the tent poles of the story.
So I actually went, would you be interested in making it a comedy? Actually, we flipping it and make her the dominatrix and him the secretary coming in, like, or the journalist coming in.
Yeah.
And at least we commit, and then she pulls a hurley out and clatters the arse off him. And
brilliant.
He has, and their safe word was, fuck off. And and literally first crack at a hurley, fuck off, safe word, I'm done, I can't, no fucking way, not you can put down that fucking tape anyway for starters, so you're not coming near me, fuck off. And that was it. End of the movie. And people loved it, because when they saw 50 Shades, it was in front of 1,000 people of all from this GA club, and of course people are going, oh Jesus Christ, oh gee, number one, this is a brilliant movie, and number two, do I have to watch Joanne from up the road fucking getting better around the room with my ears? But what they weren't expecting was that I'd flipped the whole script like and made it the other way around.
Oh, brilliant. Well done. Jesus.
It was the only way to actually make a story. How you'd wonder how a thing like that can go so far. Like, the book had spelling mistakes in it. It was so badly done. Like,
I think it's like, you've got the housewives, repressed housewives that aren't having a lot of sex.
But there's been dirty books for years. Do you know what I mean? Jilly Cooper's been writing dirty books for years.
Suddenly it was brought to the masses. It was kind of like, Disneyland for, it kind of made it more accessible, because everything like fetish stuff was always, it was taboo and it was under the rug. And then suddenly here it was now, and we could all talk about it. We could all, it was kind of accessible to the average woman who would never have found out or touched these kind of subject matters before. I don't know how they managed it. They did 3 of them. I was embarrassed for Jamie Dornan. I was fucking embarrassed. It was that bad. I mean, they made a ball of money, but it was embarrassing bad. It's just
when if ever a sign of a fella wanted a few pound, like, you know what I mean, a handy few pound, that's a handy few pound. Like, you won't have to stress yourself getting into character, and it's just like, all right, that's fair enough.
They had did somebody else tip for the part, I think, and they pulled out, and that's how Jamie Dornan got the part. But I think Michael Fassbender would have been way better, because Jamie Dornan, when he did it, I think he was miscast because he's a bit too young and he didn't have that menacing. Like Michael Fassbender, to me, right? You know, he's menacing, and you're not quite sure what he's going to do, and you're like,
yeah,
oh,
he's one of the best actors one of the best actors of all time. Like
and you'd be equally parts terrified and titillated by him as your master. But Jamie Dornan, you're like, would you ever fuck
he's
off?
lovely. He's too lovely. Like,
you want to just pat him on the head.
Yeah.
But he was good in The Fall, actually. I liked The Fall, and that was quite good. Did you see that show?
Yeah, but I don't think. Well, there was an Irish movie came out. I got through 20 minutes of it. What the Mountain Time? Did you see it? Did you see the clip first?
Oh, stop. I think we watched you got further than we did. We watched we were like, oh, Jesus. I said I do 20 minutes. Movies.
Yeah.
We do 15. And if it doesn't, we give everything 15 minutes, but that we couldn't even get past the trailer.
Well, we broke our own rule, because we have an Ara fuck's sake rule. And if there's been 3 Ara for fuck's sakes, that's it gone. And there was about 10 of them between the two of us going, Ara for fuck's sake. Which was only the fact that Christopher Walken was in it. I was so fucking drawn to going, what's going to happen here? Because that fucker can't just be in this. Like this whole almost fall apart in a dream, and this fella's living in prison or something, or he's a drag queen. Something. This isn't right. But I wasn't even willing to go that fuck it. I went, nah, I can't.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, it wasn't something we were interested in watching at all. There's been a lot of great Irish stuff, though, I have to say. Like, we watched Normal People. We loved it.
I liked it, but I tried a bit I could definitely see the quality of it. Now, 2 things fucking annoyed me, and I was talking with a comedian mate of mine who's from Sligo, John Cleary, and he'd be passionate about the nuances of accents. And he went,
oh, really?
Fucking Abramson fucked off and got a bunch of cunts from Kildare. He says, this minute sounding accent. He says, and I'm from Sligo. You're not from fucking... And that's what sent him over the edge. And then I couldn't see it in the same light. Then I watched it and went, yes, the accent is very good, and its writing is very good. And also, I couldn't put myself into the pre-angst fucking teen, early 20s. I didn't live through whatever they were living through. I didn't live through that. You
didn't?
Nah.
Oh, Jesus, that was every relationship I had till I was about 35.
No.
I was like, oh my God, it was like going back to college. Like, it totally was. Like, and and I was in college in Dublin. I mean, it was just like, I wasn't at Trinity, but I had friends at Trinity, so I used to go to the Trinity Ball. And it was just like, I was transported right back there, and it was like, oh my God. It was so close to the bone.
I went to college in LIT in Limerick, so it's...
No. Oh, yeah. No, I went to Limerick as well. I did a year at NCAD, and then I did 3 years in Limerick. So I went to Limerick Art College. So yeah, I knew Limerick and I knew Dublin.
The 2 cosmopolitans fucking...
2 cosmopolitans, yeah.
So the plan...
of the universe.
In I've taken up enough of your time. The plan in hopefully to get the show back on the road. I can't wait to see what it will have. I would have loved to seen it before and what it will evolve into afterwards. Your Confessions
of the Catholic Nymphomaniac. I mean, I like the title. What do you think of the title? The title good.
I mean, it hits like a fucking hammer. There's no doubt. Like there's no doubt.
The title should always be, I think, a little bit funny as well, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the other thing is, you want people that wouldn't otherwise get to know about it, maybe pick up a flyer and go, oh Jesus, the title is interesting. That'll draw me in, you know. And of course, I thought in my mind, I was going to workshop it all through last year, and then I thought this year now I'll be getting ready to do Edinburgh. I was really expecting to be going to Edinburgh for this summer, but that's not even happening. So look, it'll go up when it goes up, and then the plan will be to take it to Edinburgh at some point as well. But I'm also thinking I might write it into a TV pilot. We'll see, maybe, because the other thing that's changed a lot, like all of the shit that I got up to in the 90s, you couldn't talk about. You just couldn't talk about.
Yeah.
And now with Fleabag, with I May Destroy You, with these kind of shows, everyone's talking about the shit that we all got up to, like all of the antics, and mine was probably worse than a lot of those as well. So I think it's been the writing and the precedent that Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Michaela Cole have set particularly for women. I think that, the bar is raised, and I love that. So, now you can really get away with saying anything. And then for me, for a long time, I was kicking back against the culture that I was raised in, and always like, my parents are open-minded and everything else, but you have to be careful about bringing shame back to the family, or doing stuff that might cause them to be the source of mockery in the town. So I was conscious of that for years. Like, can I do this or can I say what I really want to say? Because I've even, I have to think of my family. Like, even now I don't. I'm just like, you know what, lads, you're not right, and I'm, you're not my audience, and I'm going to carry on.
They'd be great.
But even there during the pandemic, CICLA, the Centre for Irish Arts in LA, lovely fellow called Matthew Nevin runs it, but he's based in Dublin. They have a few art galleries in Dublin, and he asked me to do an online piece. Like, he was selecting maybe 10 artists from around the world that were going to do something. It could be comedic, it could be anything, for under 5 minutes, and they could post it on their website. And they were throwing us a small few bob for doing it. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a bit of my solo show, maybe I'll do a bit of comedy. I don't know what I'll do. And I said to my dad, and my dad goes, oh, Jesus, keep it clean anyway now. Remember, you have a niece and a nephew. And I said, Dad, well, they're not my audience. But even just that, those would have been the retorts I would have got from the family before, So, but I don't care. I am who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of who I worked hard to become this woman. So I don't fucking care what anyone says about me or thinks about me anymore. I really don't. So there you go. Fuck you all.
Well, that is fantastic. This was some fucking crack. I wish I had a big old mug of fucking ayahuasca here to go away with that.
Well, I'm so fucking American. I've got my iced tea.
Jeez, that is fair American. But to be fair, you are living in Long Beach. Like, you can be forgiven. Like, you know what I mean?
For not drinking. Although I have a pot of tea every morning. I get through the whole pot. I fucking love my tea. There's Barry's tea in there as well. I fucking love my tea.
You do? You got the berries. You can get any of that old piss that did be sold. Yeah.
It's very strong, the berries, though. Jesus, like, you really have to go and have a lie down after.
Oh, it's just lovely. If the spoon can't stand up inside it, I don't want to know about it.
Oh, I know. It's fucking, I make the whole pot. But when you come out here first, you cannot buy a kettle and you cannot buy a teapot. They just don't know how to make a cup of tea. They've no clue. And then they were like giving you a tea bag and they would microwave the water. Like,
jeez.
Like, what the fuck? They can't, honestly.
Kind of an animal would do that.
I know, and I couldn't. I was teaching. I was inside in a bar one night, showing them how to make Irish coffees. Nobody knew how to make an Irish coffee. They didn't even know what it was. It's hilarious.
You're like going around fucking teaching people. Fair fucking play to you. This has been my brilliant. I'm absolutely fucking knackered. That's fucking great.
No, it's been so great talking to you. But tell me, were you, when we did that gig, was it you that had the joke about the almond milk? Was that you?
Yeah.
Fucking, that was one of my best jokes ever. I was telling that to loads of people. What fucker found tits in an almond?
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
And you get
brilliant.
And you know yourself, you're saying almond now like an American, but you have to say almond. A fucking almond.
Almond milk. It's so true. It's so funny though. I laughed so much. That was the highlight.
That bit is up online. I did it because I did it.
I saw it. I remember seeing it. Like, I saw it before and I was like, I remember thinking, I hope he does that almond milk bit. Fucking brilliant. So funny.
And the home of that kind of carry on, you're living in that now. Fair play to you for getting your hands on some Barry's tea. Like, that's...
Oh, Jesus, yeah, you have to have the Barry's tea. I used to be a great woman for making soda bread as well, although I haven't made it in a while. I loved the soda bread.
Jesus,
with the Kerry Gold. Oh,
you could open your own fucking cafe when things open back up. Just make it all diddly-die fucking Irish.
Oh, and listen, I've turned into a fucking cook, and I think I'm Gordon Ramsay. Like, I'm doing all kinds of shit that I've never done before. It's amazing. Like, I'm an amazing chef now, I have to say. I mean, it was a steep learning curve. Like, at the beginning, I took a pizza out of the box, and I actually put it into the oven with the cardboard disc still on the bottom. and then I was trying to slice into the cardboard. You couldn't cut the pizza.
That's a chewy cunt of a thing.
Couldn't get into it. Like, I can't fucking cut this pizza. And then I'm like, oh shit, the cardboard's still on the bottom. But I've turned into Gordon Ramsay in the last year, let me tell you.
Right, cookery's that'll be the next. That's what we expect to see next. Follow Emma Pyne Cooks on Instagram.
Yeah.
You gotta get the whole starting off thing. You know, they all have to. So hi guys. So today I'm going to be at. Emma, this has been an absolute treat.
Weird with Oh, sorry. I was thinking. People are into all kinds of weird shit. I was thinking of doing something weird with my feet, though. I'm wondering if, like, if I don't get the masturbator educator workshop going, maybe I'll do something weird with, feet videos with.
Listen,
where you crush up loads of butter, you crush up loads of Mary's tea with your feet.
Yeah, get onto OnlyFans, right? And that's all you listen. There's a fella in Bray. He was on the Clare show the other day. And there's a fella in Bray, big foxy head in him, making 50 grand a month on OnlyFans for walking around with. Now, I don't know, is he pulling the tool off himself? I don't know, but he's making.
You probably don't have to.
He's just apparently. I think he's just walking around with the top off. Now he's in good old nick, in fairness to him, like. But 50 grand a month, like he's making, and he's
that's mental. Is it from the advertisers and stuff?
No, he's on OnlyFans. So he just what people are,
and they pay.
They pay him. They subscribe, and they pay him a few bob to fucking be tugging off and saying hello to him and stuff. And he's saying hello with a Bray accent. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh my god, the filth, the Bray accent.
So listen, the Japanese have been all over this for years. They were doing things where you could pay. There's a one. Wait, you hear this now? There's a one in England has 4 or 5 goats. And you can pay $50 to have your dinner with the goat on Zoom.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Fucking love that.
Yeah. She'll put down a bowl of nuts in front of the laptop. He'll nibble away at it, and you'll eat your dinner out the other end and chat away to the fucking goat for $50 a time, €50 a time.
People must be awful lonely, for fuck's sake. Although it might beat some dates people have been on. Jesus. There's something you can do again pre-pandemic. There was goat yoga going on out here. I swear to God, goat yoga.
Lovely.
And I was me always curious. So I was actually going to do it, and I couldn't get to it, or I couldn't make it.
I saw it on YouTube where the goats would jump up on your back.
And these small little mini goats that get up on you while you're in a downward dog or a plank or something. Like, Jesus Christ. But it's funny. People, the OnlyFans thing. You could make a video of you brushing your hair, like. Just brushing your hair.
Just get out your feet. Like you said, get out your feet. Start rubbing it through the Kerrygold. Yeah. Smoking fags with your feet. Rubbing it through the Kerrygold. Whatever you have to do.
I know. This is it now. As long as you don't have to get your knickers off. And sometimes you might have to do that too, Louis. Over Zoom. It's fine. No touching. Yeah. Sorry, baby. I'm just doing my webcam again.
Anyway, back to that wanking competition in Australia. That's where it's all at.
That's where it's all at.
That and fucking ayahuasca now inside the tea.
That's hilarious. Oh, the ayahuasca, yeah, Jesus, yeah.
Emma, this has been powerful crack. Tell us where people can follow you and everything, because you have by the way, you have the loveliest followers. Anything I've ever seen you, and I don't know, is it a real lovely American thing or supportive people you have around you? Because you'll put something up, like you put up a gas picture of you the other day as a hillbilly, and it was fucking brilliant. Oh, yeah. And but like there was people writing lovely things underneath it, because I liked it, and I saw people were writing things like, oh my God, you look so great, and like if I put anything up, people at the best will go, I can do one better. You look like a heap of shit, or what's after happening to you? Do you know, there'll be never an element of...
That's hilarious.
Do you know, it's the difference.
You change your friends.
I don't want your friends. I don't want your friends saying nice things, because I don't trust people being that nice. Yeah.
It's so funny you should say that, though. I got totally trolled by somebody in Kentucky posting up that picture, because I put hashtag hillbilly and I put hashtag hillbilly elegy. So I ended up having to block her and delete her post, which she basically, oh my God, she this tirade of abuse at me. I was a Karen. I wasn't fucking funny. I was this. I needed to come to Kentucky and find out what real women could do. All this stuff, all because all I had done was put a photo of myself, and actually, that's what I look like all of the fucking time. I mean, I've made a small effort today, but most of the time I look like a fucking hillbilly. I'm not joking. Like, I just put a photo of myself on a good day, hashtag hillbilly. And anyway, she the hate.
Brilliant.
And I put back, I'm so sorry that I offended you, thinking I'll diffuse it. And then she came back with more. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. I was like, there's mental health issues, and then there are hills.
And there's prescription drugs, abuse of prescription drugs is a heavy thing.
So that's the other thing. You'll always fucking offend somebody, even when you're not trying to. And look, and I actually did put it, I said, as an artist, I always take the stance, if you're not offending somebody, you're doing it wrong. I actually put that in then for a finish, and then I fucking blocked her, the stupid God. It was my homage to hillbillies. And then she started lashing into your man that wrote Hillbilly Elegy, like as if I knew him, like as if he was some friend of mine. He was getting it on my fucking post as well. So yeah. But anyway, other than people can follow me at Emma M Pyne, EMMAM as in Mary, PYNE. That's me on Instagram, Emma M Pyne.
Emma, it's been an absolute treat. Thank you very, very much for coming on.
So great to see you.
And now your accent is going to be absolutely your fellow won't understand a fucking word out of your mouth.
He needs a translator now for the rest of the evening.
Go on, thanks a million, Emma. Cheers.